the most important life lesson you've learned from our relationship?
I think one of my biggest lessons in a relationship is patience.
Was there ever a time where you didn't think we would work? Welcome to another episode of Mixed Realities with me and my co-host Elexius, Gene, Sam,
and me.
This week we are going to be talking about our relationship, the challenges we have come about in our relationship, ways we overcame them, and we're going on 4 years.
Literally questions.
Yeah, and questions. But we're going on 4 years, and so if you're in a relationship that's only a couple of years, you might learn from this. Or if you're in a long-term relationship and trying to see how maybe we go about dissecting our relationship, this would be a good episode for you. This is all about couples today, or this episode. I guess you can kind of jump in. Actually, before we jump in, because I do a bad job at this, like and subscribe. If you're watching. It really helps, and also share the video if you think this was helpful. But
and comment if you think anything, if anything comes to mind.
But I guess you could go into a little bit about, because I feel like you're the better at explaining this, the beginning of our relationship and how we move fast. We don't recommend this to everyone.
We do.
But you could, if you are in a relationship where things are moving fast, or I feel like us moving fast jumped our relationship to a 1 year relationship felt like 3 years at one point. So it's this could be beneficial to some people who might be in 2 or 3 years that aren't even living together, because we started living together within 2 weeks of knowing each other. So I guess you could hop into that.
So first of all, this is so weird that we both thought it was weird. We knew it was weird. We were both terrified, but then we decided to just go with our hearts and.
I thought you were a murderer. No,
go with our hearts and just try to figure it out and actually trust what our body was telling us. So we met 4 years ago in Atlanta. We moved in together literally probably 2 to 3 weeks after that.
Yeah, I think we kind of dated for a week or two, and then 2 weeks after we officially started. So we've known each other for a month total. So then we moved in together, and then we moved to Florida for a year, 2 or 3 months after that. It was 6 months.
Or 6 months?
Yeah,
okay, so it was
5 or 6 months.
They flew by.
Wait, okay.
They flew by.
Because I think we started dating in August or September. I can always forget the dates. Between
April or September.
But no, we moved to Jacksonville in May or April. So we've been together for at least 4 months. At least 4 months. 4 to 5 months.
So it was 4 to 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
But the talk of us moving came way before 4 to 5 months. It was maybe 2 or 3 months in.
Yeah, because we wanted to always kind of move to Florida for a little bit, because I had lived in Atlanta for 3.5 years at that point.
I lived there for forever.
And you lived there forever, and then I lived in LA before that, and then I grew up in Florida. So I just kind of I feel every 2 to 3 years I want to change either the scenery of that I live in, or completely redo a room or something like that. But it seemed for me in my life, every 2 to 3 years I'd moved.
Yeah. So then we moved to Jacksonville, lived there for a year, and did not like it. Wasn't our vibe. And so then we moved to LJ.
Yeah.
LJ, Georgia.
LJ, Georgia.
And fun fact about Weston, we actually live in his grandma's old house.
Yeah.
So we are here. We've been here for 2 years.
We're going to 2 years in April.
2 years in April. But anyway, we moved really fast. And we have 2 dogs to show for it. We, have a house. We've been building a home. Takes a decent amount of time to be able to do that. But along the way, we've been also so in love, but trying to figure out our day-to-day and how it's going to work and how it's going to work in the long term, because you jump into a relationship and when you know, because I never believed in that crap until it actually happened. But then when it happened, you're kind of okay, so what do I do now? Do I jump and let the universe figure it out, or am I terrified and miss this chance? So we jumped in deep. We dove
it's not something
head
you
first.
recommend to everyone.
I do not recommend it to everyone, because also There's
And
a lot of
honestly,
people.
I honestly don't even think you know. I think it's honestly just our two personalities
Yeah.
are work well together. I don't like. I think other relationships and other personalities might need time to adjust and stuff
And
like that. It just so happened that how we live, we are
yeah.
very both laid back. But if you're like someone who, you know, it just so happened that our personalities gelled good enough in the beginning that it worked out that we moved in, and that's why I don't recommend it to everyone, because sometimes you need to learn about like each other's roles or like each other's, like, I don't know, dynamic
Everything. Yeah.
first. It just so we just got lucky that we're both kind of laid back, so the problems that did arise, we didn't like allow them to bother us. We kind of maybe lived with those problems too long in the beginning,
Yeah. Longer than we should have.
but it wasn't something that like made us get into giant arguments and stuff like that. So,
But like, just to say, getting in a relationship this fast, I've never done that before, and it was
Me
also
either, yeah.
kind of a thing. Like, it could be love bombing. I could be going crazy. It could be lust. Like, I don't know what the hell's happening, because sometimes it is. Like, just because you hear somebody got in a relationship and they went with it, sometimes it is love bombing. But like, when you know that it feels right and there could be an opportunity there, and it's actually serious and it's not playing games or whatever, you'll know. Like, there's a difference, and you will know. I did not know the difference. Well, just like, did not expect it or know the difference. But I think what happened was we were both at a time in our lives where I was just living with a roommate, and I was like, I don't want to talk to boys. I want nothing to do with boys.
you're a lesbian.
Yeah, basically. I was just like over it. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not going to get into a relationship until I'm deeply in love with this person, until we do this, this, and this, until I know he's deeply in love with me. So I was kind of at a place in my life where I wasn't really going on dates. I was kind of just focusing on myself. And then, oh my gosh, here he came. And I was like, what the frick?
I guess, do you think you create your own purpose in a relationship, or do you discover it? And I guess not in just a relationship, but in life
like
in
in
general.
general.
Because I feel like is purposes within relationships already, but
I think a big thing in my life was I want to be in a relationship and it to look a certain way. Like, I was over, like, because it's possible. Like, I feel like I was over just talking to people and living a certain way, including that in relationships. Like, I wanted my life to look and live a certain way. And I lived in like survival mode for such a long time, like in my past. And I was finally at a place where I was like, I can create anything I want. I have the confidence. I think that true love is real. Like, I think that life can look a certain way.
So do you think you discovered that, or you created that?
I think you create
or was
it.
it a mix of both?
I think you create it by discovering yourself in the challenges that you create. Like, I feel like the opportunities that you create in your life are all experiences that can shape your reality.
Yeah. So it's like a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both. It has to be.
That's because my answer was kind of very similar to yours, in the sense that like, you can kind of create your own purpose and form your own life, but then while you're doing that, things just freaking come.
Yeah.
Whether it's within your relationship or your personal life, like, if you're always like working towards a specific goal, I forget what saying it was, but it's like, I don't want to say Thomas Jefferson, but let's say it is Thomas Jefferson. It was like, something along the lines like, you don't luckily you create luck with hard work. And so like, that's like within your life, but then even like within your relationship, like when you're working hard within your relationship, trying to make it better, trying to be better for your partner, things just start clicking outside. Sometimes it doesn't click, but then eventually, if you're always working within your relationship and making it, trying to date each other more, helping each other with their life goals, then naturally luck will follow, and the purpose kind of forms around what you're kind of creating and like finding at the same time.
It comes a lot with manifesting, because I truly feel that like you can manifest the way you want your life to be if you show up as that person every single day, or if you just wait. Like if you put it all out in the universe, it will come to you.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a really big thing in like creating your reality. Like I feel like you can manifest your reality if you just commit to it and think about it and write it down and speak positive things over and over and over and over, and just remember not to settle. And that's literally it. Because when you start manifesting and trying to create your reality, the universe will respond. Like it's always there in positive ways. Like if you think about it all the time, if this is the frequency you want to be on, the universe will respond to you and give you the things you want. You know what I mean? Maybe in disguise, but they will be there.
What's the most important like life lesson you've learned from our relationship?
Oh,
deep.
Most important life lesson that I've learned from our relationship.
You want me to go?
You can go first.
So there's so many, but I feel like one of the most important things about what I've learned is you do need to be focused on yourself in a relationship, because you focus on like your partner so much. Sometimes to make a relationship last, you need to focus on yourself, your mental health, your goals, I hate the word to be selfish, but if you're selfish for yourself, but like in the mindset like this is going to better my relationship, make me a happier person, then that's people in relationships, like I said, you focus so much on the other person, you forget about yourself and your maybe even your career or or like your mental health. But for your relationship to work, you need to be 100% healthy mentally, physically, emotionally. You need to be, and then that should carry over to the partner as well. And if you're good, you can help them more, be more, give them more time, give them more love, give them more. But if you are, kind of getting torn apart inside, like you can't be a good partner then. And so I feel like that's like kind of the evolution of our relationship is like focusing more on like our own selves, our own passions that don't always have to be aligned with each other, but we can embrace each other's, individualism. If that makes sense.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and that's definitely like probably the number one answer I would have had is just like individual.
Are we just copying each other's answers?
No, individual. I do have something else, but individual and personal. It's just such a huge thing, and sometimes you're in a cycle of forgetting that over and over and over. But I think one of my biggest lessons, like in a relationship, is patience. I think
that is so important.
I think like within yourself and within the other person, if that makes sense. Like, especially, you need to have patience with. Like, I needed to have patience with myself to learn what I do. Like, to learn why I get angry. To learn why I react a certain way. To learn why I treat you a certain way if it's bad. You know what I mean? There's just things you're constantly.
She doesn't abuse me.
She's just things. There's just things you're constantly unraveling about yourself when you're in a relationship. And I think the dynamic of us, I mean, we moved fast and we lived together so fast. Yeah. We had to grow into, like, we don't need to be screaming at each other all the time. Patience is like,
well, we never really screamed at each other all the time.
We never really screamed at each other, but just like knowing why I got provoked or knowing why I am shut down or not shut down, and having patience with you if you act a certain way and why you won't speak to me or why you're burnt out because you work freaking 100 hours a week. You know what I mean? Like, just having patience within the relationship. And that's literally for everything. Like, we moved fast to where we dated and we went on a crap ton of dates, you know what I mean? And then we just
you say crack ton?
Crap ton, whatever. But then we moved in together, and it was like our lives don't need to be going at like 100 miles per hour all the time. We don't need to be going out all the time. There's patience in finding what we want to be and how we want to be in our dynamic in our relationship. But yeah, have some patience, because if you don't, you'd probably be fighting over all the time.
I guess, what do you think your role is in this relationship, or is it something that adapts over time?
I think it is so different for everyone, and
well, this is for you.
For me,
yeah,
in this relationship, I think it adapts over time as we get older.
Yeah.
And as
your relationship changes, because it changes.
As it changes over and over, and then as we get more settled into our adulthood and how we plan our lives, I feel like we are on the same wavelength of when we want to have kids, how we want to do it, how we want to raise them. And I definitely do take like a motherly role, I would say, like in the house, like doing the cleaning, making sure things are clean, being annoying about if you drink water, like just I don't know, when you live together so fast, you kind of take into the dynamic without even thinking about it. But like when we think about kids and stuff, I kind of get there as well, but that's always going to change like as we get older. Like right now, I mean, I hope from when we have kids, we'll both be working from home. I have time to like relax and settle and not be having to leave the house all the time. Like have a motherly role. You do things outside of the house, around the outside. Like I remember when we first moved in to this house, it was like, I'll take care of the outside, you take care of the inside. And it was just, that was just our dynamic. But that constantly changes over and over again. But I do like and take the more motherly, I would say submissive role, even though that's a big word to say. Yeah. I do like taking that because, I don't know, you see a lot of people that say you shouldn't be submissive in a relationship unless your partner does this, and this. Yeah. And I think that's all, like, it's all different and it's all bullcrap. It's so much different when you're actually in the thick of it. Yeah. And you have such a different schedule. Like, you work from home, I leave the house majority of the time. Like, having those roles, like, come from growing together. Yeah,
I feel like,
you know
what
I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like this is kind of put an analogy to it. I feel like every relationship that, like, whether it's me and yours or you and someone else or me and someone else, like every relationship is like a puzzle. Yeah. Of like, and then it's like I bring half the pieces, you bring half the pieces, and then we just got to figure out how to put them together that make them work. It's like a evolving puzzle that you just put together.
Because it's also like hobbies. Like you like cooking, so damn, I gotta clean. Like, you know what I mean? Like after cooking for like an hour,
I'm also pretty good at cooking.
He's pretty damn good at cooking, if I may say so myself. Okay, our dinners are pretty good over here.
I agree. And actually keep going what you're saying. I forgot what I was about to say.
He is amazing at cooking. Every single meal he makes.
So answering my answer to that question, like what's my role? I feel like kind of it is evolving, but also part of my role is also like doing the podcast, the cooking. I feel like the managing of like our long-term goals in the sense of executing the production side of things and like the editing and the vision. I don't want to say the vision, but because I do video production and marketing.
The creation.
I guess the creation side of our goals. And then you're also the kind of like the producer side of those things because you do a lot of the podcast outlining. And I feel like you also like doing the creation side of things. So like you're also the social media side of but then also I feel like you, for me, is also like the living in the moment role type because you're better at that than me. Well, I think maybe I'm a little better at like just kind of figuring like working and making work fun and like passion. Yeah. Like, because the reason why I work so much is because I love what I'm doing. And then honestly, when I don't like watching TV as much as like, not as much as you, but like I like
at all.
Yeah. I just like working because it's fun. And then I feel like by me doing that, it's slowly running off on you. Run off on you.
So do you think your role in our relationship is to be the man that works? Or what? Like personal?
I feel like it's the work, but also to kind of like make because I'm always putting like working towards my passions and whatnot. And so maybe that's something that I hope helps you as well. Because I have experience with creating content, so you can always help me. I always help you with ideas. Like you're always like, hey, look at this, look at that, look at this. And that, I guess that's part of the role. But then also I feel like it is like kind of being that working, always like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess the working.
Well, because I guess
I hate to just put it in the working terms, like just say working.
Yeah, but I guess like some people are, like maybe expecting a kid and they have like set roles. Yeah. She's the mom, you know what I mean? We like are in a space that we are just clashing our two worlds together.
Yeah, because we also
and then
do
it just flows.
Yeah, we do this. We're trying to do more blogs and stuff. So it's like we're trying to combine all the things, and then when you do stuff like this, some couples might be watching this and don't have a podcast together. So like and do all like have so many things like tangled outside of like
some people are just their work, and the middle is the household. So you know what I mean?
I think if people could learn from this who don't create content together, like find something you both want to work towards that align with each other in terms of like your careers almost. I don't want to hate, like, but like it could also be like as easy as like find a hobby that you guys can both share that you actually love doing. Because my problem is like I don't want to find a hobby that doesn't also help me with my career, because then I get like addicted to the hobby, and it then takes me too much time out of my hand. Yeah. So like doing the podcast, doing the vlogging, doing all these things is like a hobby to mine, but I also love it because it's also kind of like working.
Yeah, and this is like...
So like, before, but like if you're someone at home, you could find something like, renovate, like not renovating, but like cleaning up furniture and like DIYs, room stuff, stuff like that. I feel like just finding that hobby is crucial.
That's like another thing where relationships are so insanely different, because a lot of women could not be with Weston, to the sole fact that he's just said over and over, he loves his work. So that's another dynamic that's like every relationship does not have. Like if he really wanted to, he would work sunrise to sundown, like all the time.
But it's not like, I hate calling it work though, because it's not really work.
Yeah, so to love, and it's a blessing in disguise. Like to love what you do for work, to make it feel like it is not work. Yeah, is also, I
guess 50% of it is work, because some of the marketing stuff I don't truly enjoy.
Just for the outline, like he does sit in front of a computer, whether it's work or fun or not. But not your entire life should be, surrounded by just working all the time. But there's a lot of people who would not be able to be with Weston just because, like, his work hours are crazy. But that also makes you be an individual, like, not have so much time together. But we had to... That's another dynamic that has shifted since we've started living together and started growing into our relationship. It's like, okay, so if he works all the time, we might as well clash that with our relationship and do something that we enjoy together. So not just saying it's about work, it's a hobby of ours that we like doing together, and I think that's why it helps us, and we like to stay consistent with it.
Was there
the thing flung out of my head.
Was there ever a time where you didn't think we would work? Just, I guess, not to be in like a dramatic way.
We can be dramatic,
but in a real way, where like what made you stay and keep choosing us over ending things.
Okay, so I feel like I remember the day we were living in Jacksonville. We lived there for a couple months, and I remember we kept having the same argument, and it was me being like insecure in my being. Mm-hmm. And I was also terrified, especially knowing me, like, moving to another state with this guy I just met and, like, loving him so much. I was so freaking terrified, to where, like, you do have doubts. Like, you have to train your mind and to be so certain in your body and relationship to not be thinking about what ifs all the time. And I remember it was always just kind of like, I'd get into a fight and I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. Like, I would blow up all the time, and I would just have the same pattern in our fights. And I remember you one day was like, well, if you're not going to believe that we're here for each other and we love each other and we want this to work, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, so like I remember sitting down with myself and being like, am I just going to ruin this entire thing that I just changed my entire life for? Or am I going to change the ways, change my bad ways in order to grow into the relationship and to grow into my own personal being? Like, being in a relationship that like early and fast and how like intense it was made uncomfortable feelings come out, and like uncomfortable like ways of being come out, and I had to dial in and like figure out why I would react this way, or like what you know, things I was lacking. But I remember right then and there I was like, if I don't get it together and realize this man loves me, it's gonna be over. And I knew it was worth it, because it only takes a special person to like love you so much that it brings out the bad things about you that should be changed and that you probably want to be changed, and still love you through that. Like that was but we got through that, and all it took was arguing. No, I'm kidding. All it took was just talking it over, and you know.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, probably in Jacksonville, a year after we met.
Yeah. I guess I have to answer that question now.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we could bring up the kind of the most latest. I guess 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
We had that talk where it was more so. I guess less about. It was about both of us. So it's like more so like I say this past year for me has been kind of like a career transition. I worked at a larger agency. I had a job at another company besides like working for myself for the first time in 4 or 5 years. So I was working at an agency, hated it. After like 10 months, after a couple months I moved to they put me in a director position, and then just hated it because it wasn't my passion. And so the past kind of like I would say 6 months I've been doing projects for companies and stuff like that. So these past I would say year has been a career transitional phase for me. And what hasn't been going, I'd say the best way, because I'm taking my time in terms of like figuring out the best approach on what direction I want to go in my career. But also we hadn't been consistent with the podcast. We're kind of experiencing, maybe I hate to call it like a period where we just weren't motivated to like work on the podcast. It's
a huge thing of getting caught up. Like, that's why check-ins are so good. It's a huge thing of being caught up in your day-to-day routine, and then months are going by and you're not on the same wavelength. Yeah. And then you get there and you're like, what the hell's going on?
So like we had this conversation like 3 or 4 months ago. It was more so like, hey, if we are like we need to be serious about like accomplishing our long-term goals of like, if we're going to do this podcast and the vlogs, we need to actually do it. Like we need to focus on it. And then like it's like, okay, and then I also need to like focus on my career. And this is kind of going back to the beginning of the conversation, like you need to focus on yourself. Like I felt like I was spending too much time like prioritizing us hanging out and like doing the dating stuff over like spending nights working on my like work and stuff like that. So I kind of over the past couple months have changed that. Where okay, Tuesdays, we used to go hiking. We haven't been gone hiking in a while because now I kind of work on Tuesdays again, because I want to focus on making this transition quicker, which it kind of was something where I knew I would probably have to make this transition, because like I'd say past like in the beginning of this year we were focusing on kind of those going hiking every day, spending more time together, which then took time away from me like to really focus in on to quickly do this career change instead of like pacing it out over time. And then that's kind of where I would rather us be like happy where I'm at with my work, which then will make our relationship happier. So like we were like going on hikes and all these things, which was great and everything, but then one thing happens with one of my clients and I'm like, I wasted all this time doing all these things. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of saying, going back, like focusing on yourself and your career, and then once you're happy with yourself and what you're doing with yourself internally, it then makes the relationship better, which I feel like these past like 3-4 months have been amazing. And yeah,
Not everyone lives together, like in relationships as
Yeah.
well. Like, we're so different because our roles, like, some people are like, oh, you shouldn't move in together before you get married. We already did that.
Yeah.
And we already have.
well, I feel like you
we
should
already
definitely
have a-
move in
yeah.
before you get married.
But we already, like, we're already in a place that we feel settled, and we shouldn't feel that way. Like,
Yeah.
like we used to, or like that's how it feels sometimes. So check-ins are great because it kind of pulls
Yeah.
you back into what the hell's going on.
Because that
what's
was like
happening,
more like a
because
check-in,
a
like,
lo-
like
yeah.
3 or more. It wasn't like an argument. It was more so like, hey, we if we're gonna do this podcast thing, like spend all these
Yeah.
hours doing this, like we need to take it serious. And like, because I would spend hours, or we would spend hours setting stuff up, and then, and then it just, we'd forget to do it, and like we'd be like, oh, we don't want. But then also that also, because then we were also doing things like going to wineries and going hiking, which it's not like we were going out and having fun and partying. It was more so like we're experiencing life and doing those things, which I think those things are good.
Yeah.
But if those things are taking away time from you, like accomplishing your long-term goals, then maybe it's okay to like count, because like, I guess the lesson, what we learned is to count moments like this of us working on the podcast, of us like being together, because we are together right now. We are working, so like to count those times of like, and it makes it more enjoyable when you're working together on things like, and so that was kind of like our change. And I hate to say it, that this was like when I didn't think things would last, but it was like something that we had to check in, and it was like, hey, like our harshest critics, or at least for me, is myself. And like when we're like putting all this time and effort into something and not seeing results because it's just us not putting in the time to do it,
Yeah.
it like slowly eats away at least for me, like I'm my harshest critic. And if I'm like not doing something up to the standard, if I have to like either fix it or it's going to eat away at me.
And it's really hard to grow as a singular person, and it's even harder to grow in a relationship. So yeah, that's why this is good. Next question.
Looking back at the very beginning of a relationship, what's one small moment that made you think, this person is special? Something you maybe didn't even tell me at the time.
You can go.
I just read the question. You gotta go. I think you did say something already that kind of answered this question.
Wait, repeat the question.
Oh crap! I just lost it. Looking back at the very beginning of a relationship, what's one small moment that made you think, this person is special?
So annoying.
Something you maybe didn't even tell me at the time.
I think it was probably
Crap, my head.
in the beginning of our relationship when we kept going around different people. Like when you
When your friends are like, we like me more than you.
Yeah, I guess. And like I guess like when you finally see like when you see your heart shining, like there's small moments of like meeting Callie and meeting your other friends and meeting going to your sister's house and seeing you with her nieces and nephews. And like, remember this one time I was you were in the hot tub and your hair was wet and I was staring at you and I was like, damn, I love him.
What a creep.
And I was like, nah, that day I was like, I'm gonna have his kids. It's just like how you treat other people in like just like a raw living your life type of way, and how a lot of different people like you. Yeah, probably that.
I guess how I'm just.
I guess you have a good heart.
Yeah, and I guess I'm
You're kind of mean though, but.
Yeah, I'm mean, but like mean, like I'm like, and if I like you, oh, what was that?
That's my phone.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like the mic or something like that. But I guess I just get along with a lot of people because like I feel like I'm part nerd, part like just normal person, and so like I'm like a spectrum of personalities. Some people say
Yeah. I mean, I am too, though. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad sometimes. Some people get too, like, some people like me too much sometimes. Well, I'm just like, some people, like, there's always that one person that people always tell their problems to. And sometimes that's me. And I'm like Cancer, and I'm like, get that energy off me, bro.
Yeah.
I can't take that.
For me, I guess, was it did the question ask about a specific moment? Looking back in the beginning, what's a small moment? A small moment. Huh. I can't like remember a small moment. I guess it's more so like, dang, it's kind of like the same as yours, like how you're able to hang out, like when we went out with my friends at one time.
Oh, when you accidentally told me you love me.
Yeah, it was not. She's over exaggerating. It was like before, like the second time we met each other. Like it was more like, I fucking love you, bro.
Yeah, but it didn't come out that way. How? So, bro would have helped if you put bro at the end. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna imagine it with bro. But
yeah, because it's like the second time we met. But it's like that night where it's like, okay, and I'm pretty sure, like, I can't remember if it was that time or not. One of the other girls or one of my friends' girlfriends, like, who I've already hung out before, I said, I really like her, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, she's amazing.
That's just kind of cool.
Yeah, but then like that happened like again when I think we were at like AJ's birthday party when we and that happened again with, I think, one of my family members as well. So it was just like constantly people saying they like you and whatnot, and like that they really enjoy you, and kind of seeing the spectrum of people as well that you're able to socialize with. And it allows me, because like you're good at talking to people, you know, and I guess I am good at talking to people, but I don't, like, I'm more introverted than you. Like you're willing to go up to people and like you're someone that could talk to random people at a bar. I force myself to do that. Like that's when I moved to Atlanta. I forced myself to go to bars alone and whatnot. But I feel like you might naturally do that better, and then that's what like helps me do it as well. Yeah. Like you help me become more extroverted.
Outgoing. Yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Are there any unspoken rules in a relationship, or unspoken rules that you have in a relationship?
We talked a lot about work, because work is like our life right now. We're like in a lot of work right now. But I think it's to like literally let you be when you are working. 'Cause I remember, like, again, the dynamic of having a partner that works a shit ton, especially from home. So you are home and you're like, yo, you want something to drink?
Part of the work is like doing this as well. Like,
yeah. But it's like, it's just funny. Like that's a rule that it's like, you don't go up to us and like sit down in front of him and ask him a shit ton of questions, like, or yo, he wants some Fruit Loops or something. Like I give him his space. Like there's a lot of space that I've like grown into that needed to be there. Even though I do get sad like when you don't sleep with me sometimes, but that's okay.
Because I'm like up late, and like I've been in front of a computer, so like sometimes I can't fall asleep, so I just lay on my couch in my office and
like watching. I like to pretend that I can't fall asleep, but I think I go to sleep.
Yeah, you go to sleep so quick. Like you yeah, so like you are the opposite. But me, like I'll try going to bed, but then if I'm in there for 20-30 minutes rolling around, I'm like, okay, this is a waste of time. Let me go in the office, work for a little bit, and then that will make me a little more tired. Let me lay on my couch in my office and so I guess but then also I guess to harp on what you said about like when I'm working, one thing that I think it's different dynamic is like I work from home most of the time, so like that's right. So like in the back of my head, it's like I don't come into your job and start asking you questions while you're waiting on people and whatnot, or if you're filming content in the middle of filming content, I don't go into. So like that's why I'm like, I think I've had to explain this to you. Like I'll be typing, like I'm working right now. Like don't just come asking me like 20 questions while I'm in the middle. No,
this is fine now, but like 3 years ago, I remember the day in the apartment you were like, dude, like kind of like fuck off, like, but and then we discussed that. But yeah, that's literally probably the biggest one, honestly. Other than like, you should treat me like a princess like every day, but that's fine.
My turn to say is unspoken rule. I think it's just kind of anyone's unspoken rule, and I saw this today on Instagram, and that's why I'm don't like talk crap about the other person to other people, and like vent to other people about like our like nitty gritty detailed arguments and stuff like that to other people that we still need to discuss and whatnot. Like, it's not good to, it's good to like vent to your girlfriends or vent to your guy friends, but you shouldn't be like
crazy detail.
Completely trashing the other person to your friends and whatnot, because then that makes your friends or your family members think differently of them. So it's like, if we have a problem, don't air it out to everyone. We need to figure this out first, and maybe once it's figured out, then you can tell everyone. But like, I feel like it's always weird when like you're talking to a friend and they're just completely burying their significant other. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like,
it's like, okay, bad vibes.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? Like,
loser.
Now, like, do you want me to hate them? Because now I don't, like, I see them as like a lazy.
Well, then it's like, I feel bad for you. Like, I feel bad for you guys.
Yeah. And I feel like that happens more with girls, to be honest, than guys.
No. Well, probably.
I feel like for guys, it's like, oh, Lexi or whatever your girlfriend's name, Brittany was fucking a bitch today. It's like very surface level. While I feel like girls who like will like go into details. But that might be a little different. I don't know why I used the word Brittany too. It just seemed the most basic name at the time.
I think it's supposed to be a man's name. Anyway,
Brittany.
Next question.
What?
Uno más? One more?
Yeah. What time? We got 40 minutes in, so let's make this the last question. What does being a man mean? Oh, what the heck? This is all right, next question. What's part of yourself that you don't let people see? Do you think I've seen it? I guess that's...
Probably honestly, I'm pretty emotional with everyone. Probably, like, my very, very dark side of my brain. And like,
have I seen it?
And my like destructive dark side of my brain.
Yeah. That
I try not to let see the light of day, but sometimes it will see the light of day. And I'm pretty sure you've seen that before. So I think it's literally just like the dark side of my entire being.
Yeah.
Shadows.
Yeah, I guess mine would be I guess the same thing. I mean, the dark side of anyone's brain, I feel like, is something that you're always trying to like not show people, because it's probably like your Achilles heel at the same time.
Yeah, like my depression and like my anxiety, just like trying to bring that dynamic into a relationship was a lot. And I feel like I don't think I ever tried. I tried to hide it, but like it came to light for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess what I don't show people as much, unless if I completely know you, is like my, I guess, more joking around. I guess the more I know you, the more I joke around, and less
that's the But yes.
So so like the more I know you, the more I'll joke around with you, but like
a little too much.
But like, and it's not like that am not like funny around other people, but like there's a filter. There's like different levels. Of my
there's like
filter.
level 3 and then there's level 10 in the household, but
which I feel like that's with everyone, but it's just maybe more so for me because I'm more naturally introverted. So it's like maybe people get like there's like 10 levels and most people get 3 to 4.
Mysterious man.
Yeah, and I guess I don't show people the kind of more technical, nerdier stuff that I do.
Yeah.
As much like I think you can see it. Like we have a 3D printer. I got a mocap suit.
Kind of like undercover Superman or something.
What?
I don't know. Undercover something. Anyway.
All right. Well, that was the last question.
That was cute.
Yeah.
Love
that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because that truly does help. And we got to say this more often in the beginning.
Like, subscribe, and don't forget to check in with your partner. And if you aren't in a relationship,
don't get in one. It sucks. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, don't get into one don't get into a relationship you're not willing to put in time and to take serious.
It's hard work, dedication.
You can't, like, relationships aren't a 1 foot in 1 foot out thing. If you are in a relationship like that, you need to take both feet out. So
and
it's
run off the cliff.
So you need to just always be either all in, all out. That's my motto with relationships. So, peace.